who steps into the unknown is always looked after by the universe. Most of us, what we do in our lives is we walk to the edge of a cliff and we stand on the edge of that cliff and we pray that our wings are going to grow so we can jump off and fly. But they never do. The best way to handle a cliff face is to stand 10 to 15 metres back and then run at it full pelt with your eyes wide open and just throw yourself off. And you know what happens when you do that? You grow your wings on the way down. And it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride. You might hit a few trees before your wings grow fully. You might get a few scrapes, a few scratches, the same as what happens in life. And then you start to take off a little bit more and you get a few more bumps and scratches, you hit a few more trees, but eventually you soar like an eagle. And you become one with life, you flow with life, and life's just absolutely incredible. Society has been geared to keeping you that way, to keeping you in fear. Society wants square people that live in a square box, that fit inside a square box, that fit inside a square community, which fit inside a square society, which are run by a square government. Your mission is to break free from that. You're human beings, you're not persons, and there's a massive difference. You know, when you were born, you were human beings. And then your parents informed on you to the government, and you were issued a birth certificate. Yeah? You became a name and a number. But that's not who you really are. When you journey inwards, the truth is revealed, and you discover your authentic self, what you came to this planet to do. You've all got a mission. You're all incredible. You're special. And you're all unique. And you need to journey inwards and allow that uniqueness to come out into the world, into the universe, so you can inspire your brothers and sisters on this big, beautiful planet that we live on. Stop being afraid. Jump off that. Not when you've got all this greatness inside of you. Not when you've got this love inside of you. There's so much passion, so much, but you need to be a rebel to do that. You need to be rebellious and you need to be creative. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. There are no such thing as mistakes. It's just part of the journey. And the journey never ends. Even when you die, you don't really die. You just go on to the next stage of the evolutionary process as spirit, wherever that might be. Who really knows? I was fostered and adopted as a kid, so I've always had a massive rejection issue. So for me to go out into the world and do what I do, write books, speak to people, I've had to face massive rejection issues, and it's been really, really difficult. As a kid, I was a really good sportsman, played rugby. I got banned from playing rugby when I was 14 for fighting, turned to drink and drugs, went right off the Richter scale. When I was 16, 17 years old, I worked for a high-profile criminal organisation in Tenerife, drug smuggling, money laundering, all sorts of stuff. I'm not proud of any of it, but it's stuff that I would never change, because if I hadn't gone through the depths of darkness that I'd have been through in my life, I wouldn't know what the infinite light really was on the other side. So whatever you're going through in your lives, however dark it might seem, however much of a black tunnel you're in, there's always light at the other end. And when you get to the other end of that tunnel, you'll realise the tunnel itself was just an illusion. And wherever you are, it doesn't matter. That's just where you are. Everything just is. And you just have to embrace the moment, embrace the here and now. Embrace what's in front of you, what's around you. Stop thinking about the future, stop dwelling on the past. About 6 years ago, my wife had a really bad, severe migraine, and for some reason I just thought I could take it out of her head. So I put my hand on her head and I started moving my hand around, and I felt this energy and just pulled it out. And I saw it just popped out. And she just got up like she never had a headache. And I didn't really think much of it at that point. And then about a year later I moved to New Zealand, and a friend of mine here in England had a really bad road accident. And her partner phoned me up and said, "Jerry, can you help?" The gear stick had gone through her leg, all her ribs were broken, her body was mangled, and the hospital had said that you're probably never going to walk again, and that you'd be in hospital for at least a year. So I thought, well, how am I going to help? I'm in New Zealand, you're in England, this isn't computing for me. But then my intuition said, go and lie on your bed and get your crystals out. So I put some crystals on my chakras, and then all of a sudden I was in a hospital room, and energy started coming out of my hands, and it was like I just knew what to do. I started putting her body back together again mentally. And she actually walked out of hospital in 12 weeks. And she phoned me up and she said to me, Jerry, she said, I woke up one night and I looked at the side of my bed and I said, what are you doing here? And she saw me in the physical. I was in a hospital room. And that was the thing for me. I thought, well, this imagination stuff isn't really imagination, is it? It's not what I was taught is imagination as a kid. This imagination stuff's actually real, because where I'd imagined myself, she saw me, not a metre to the right or a metre to the left. She saw me exactly where I'd imagined myself. So I thought, you know, there's more to this. But again, I kind of left it. I was on a bit of a different path. We owned a health and fitness centre in New Zealand, and we were running that, so I didn't really have time to kind of focus on energy healing. And I still probably wasn't 100% convinced at that time. And then we moved back to England a couple of years later, and I started seeing a lot of geometry just flying through the air, hieroglyphics. And then in my meditations, in my journeys, I was going off to Egypt, and I was going to like ancient mystery schools, and I was bringing back information, and they were showing me this is what you need to do to heal people. You know, if you do this, this will happen. And so I was bringing this information back, and then people out of nowhere were coming to me with eyesight problems, heart problems, cancer, stress, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, you know, let me try it. Let me see if I can help you. And everything that I was doing was working. My healing star magic, the reason I call it star magic is because we all came from the stars. We're all extraterrestrial beings. We didn't grow up, you know, we're not from Birmingham and Cheltenham and London, San Francisco, wherever you might be from. We're from other planets. We've just come here for a little while to learn other things. So, and eventually we're all going to go back to the stars at some point. So I call it star magic. It's not really magic. I mean, star magic for me is imagination, intention, love and light. Okay? Love is creation, light is information, and nothing happens in this world without intention. If you don't intend to do something, it's never going to happen. You have to have a big intention, and you have to let your imagination run wild, because the more you let your imagination run wild, the realer it becomes. I had a guy from Birmingham at Christmas, on Boxing Day, phoned up. The doctors had given him 2 hours to live. He had verticulitis, peritonitis, E. coli, 3 cysts and a growth inside of his stomach. They said, if you make it through the next 2 hours, you're going to have 10 feet of your large intestine removed. And I got a call and I was like, okay, it's Boxing Day, but I don't care. I need to help this guy. So I did a remote healing, removed the cysts and the lump from his stomach. He looked down afterwards, there was a big scar across his stomach. He actually took a photo of it. It'll be on the video that I'm releasing. And then a week later, I did one more healing. He went back to the doctors in January, and they said, you don't need an operation anymore. I don't know what the hell you've done. I don't know what you're going to say to the surgeons, but you don't need an operation. It's all cleared up.